if you need anything, or take a seat by the fire and I'll send someone over. What?
I don't like it here. There's too many bugs.
Yes?
Yes, Mom.
You're the boss.
You want a
Okay,
drink?
Lead the way.
Depends. Are you thirsty? Hungry? Both? Aye.
Nari's fun. She tells everyone how handsome and pretty they are. Mom says she does it for tips.
A hearty welcome to Falkreath. All of Skyrim's true sons are welcome here.
Gust is responsible for the cemetery here in Falkreath. I take care of the shrine.
Strangers like you bring war. I've seen enough war. These graves hold the sons and daughters of Falkreath.
Mom says I'm getting a new mommy and daddy, so I'll have two of each now.
At some point we should hire Tekla on here. If she could just spend less time serving Dengir. I wish I could afford to pay you both, Nari. I really do. I fear the night, because the werewolves and vampires don't. Welcome to Dead Man's Drink. Sure thing. It's yours for a day. I'll show you to your room. Right this way.
Dear, I don't want you talking to the lady in black.
Why not? She's nice.
You'll know when you're older.
I escaped fighting in Cyrodiil, only to have it track me down again in Skyrim. Let me know if there's anything else you need. Well, I wouldn't complain if we could string together a few sunny days now and then.
I am here for you. I'm thinking maybe we should get a seat? If you want to have a chat, maybe we should take a seat. My tongue wags more when I am not using my legs. Let us go.
War is not new to Falkreath. You have only to stand in our cemetery to see that. I am. I came into Arkay's light after the Great War. So many died by my hands, my magics. I'm fortunate that Kust and the people of Falkreath have come to accept me as one of their own. Could you do an old elf a favor? I misplaced my journal in a cave I was exploring. I'll pay for its return. Very well. Oh, merciful Arkay, no. I'm too old and frail, and this graveyard is too large. Kust is my assistant. He helps me tend the headstones and keep our cemetery clean, as befits a place of rest. Life is far too short, my friend. Don't waste it.
How can I help you, my friend?
Dengir deserves. Without birth, there is no life. Without death,
I will
there is
aid you
only
if I
stasis.
can.
Such is the truth of Arkay. We'll all meet
Nari's funny. She tells
Enjoy the
how
time
handsome and pretty they are.
It is good to
Mom
be
says she does it
relaxing.
for tips.
Join me.
If it's a duel you seek, stranger, then I suggest you leave. I am not here to fulfill your desire for pain, or free you from your wretched existence. At least, not today.
If she could just spend less time serving Dengir. I wish I could afford to pay you both, Nari. I really do.
Yes, yes, tomorrow I will have your head on an ice spike and your ears in a box. But please, at least make some effort not to embarrass yourself. When you face a former Justicia, that should be your primary goal.
We drink to our youth, today's come and gone.
Interesting. I was quite certain this conversation would become gradually more belligerent, not less. Is it possible that there is one individual in this bullnetch of a province that is capable of reason?
We'll take back our home. Down with Ulfric.
It is a temporary escape.
On the day of your
I do not plan on remaining in this hovel of a kingdom beyond the next season. My plan is to return to the Somerset Isle after doing a little sightseeing.
southern guard beckons, every one of us dies.
Just because this land as a whole is irredeemable does not mean there are not the occasional sparkles of beauty. In fact, the squalor works to its advantage. In the Somerset Isle, even the dirt has a place in the pantheon of wonder. Here, there are no aesthetics to compete with. There's nothing to tell. They act brave and fight poorly. The last one who challenged me was too busy rattling off the names of the relatives I had supposedly extinguished to even bother raising his shield. I think he was fumbling through what must have been a small army of second cousins when I set his weapon on fire. Yes, and this is after I told him I was no longer a Justicia. But he was a rather stubborn Nord.
Once was a hero named Ragnar the Red who came riding.
It is a rather simple matter. I disobeyed a direct order from my superior. I was stationed in Markarth with 2 others. We were investigating a family that kept abnormal hours, staying up well past midnight. Unfortunately, myself and one of the other Justicias got into an argument over the children. The fool thought they were innocent.
Now I think it's high time that you lie down and bleed. And so then came clashing and slashing of steel as the brave lass Matilda charged in full of zeal.
They were future rebels. The moment we arrested their parents, they would forever despise us. The wisest course was to execute them. The issue was made irrelevant, however, when the entire family was found murdered.
Staunch protectors, the Imperials. We drink to our youth.
That is insignificant. The family was dead and no longer worshipped Talos.
At some point we should
Moreover, by letting the murderer run amok, we prevented the family from becoming martyrs. There was just one problem.
I really do.
Everyone assumed I was the murderer. It didn't help that I've been a rather vocal proponent of mass execution. So we decided it was best to use this perception to our advantage. Now, I never confessed to the crime, but I was stripped of my rank and exiled. This gave the perception that justice was served. Only a fool thinks that way. Using death for political gain is not a tactic exclusive to the Thalmor. Ondolamar estimated that Talos worship would decrease by 1/3 in the wake of the murders. I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't doubt his calculation.
At
They
some
are
point we should
tolerant
hire
because
Tekla
they
on
are
here.
afraid.
If she could just spend
As for the
less
Jarl,
time
it matters
serving
not
Dengir.
whether Sitgir or Dengir is in
I wish
charge.
I could afford to pay you both, Nari. I really
Because when 2 buffoons of equally damaged minds vie for a throne, the reasonable citizens lose interest in the process. As such, more voice is given to the fools. And with fools in charge, the law becomes meaningless. Here, power makes the rules. And you wish to advertise this fact to me. You are worse than that idiot Boland. At least his threats are somewhat veiled. Of course. The Thalmor are not the Empire. We do not share their frothing obsession with bureaucracy. Talk to them and you'll see. Although, I suggest you don a helmet in advance. One of those dwarven ones, lest his response shower your cheek. I tire of this game. When a mortal hunts a beast for food and fur, is he a tyrant? That is all we are doing. When this war resumes, we will conquer the beasts who are not fit to rule. Exactly. And that is the part that those who seek diplomatic strategies will never understand. That you are willing to be run through. All right then.
What is on your mind? I'm thinking if you don't eat that sweet roll, I will. I must warn you, if you give me a sweet roll, I will make it disappear.
We drink to our youth, today's coming.
I'm glad you do not hold the racist views shared by many of your kind. We are setting a good example. I do not know how you Nords stay warm with so little fur. Maybe it is a thirst for battle that boils your blood. Yes, why not? It has many troubles, but it is worth protecting. There is much beauty in this land. Do you like it here? Yes, with me also. We will be legends, my friend. What do you think they will call me in the songs?
But this land is ours, and we'll see it wiped clean of the score.
Yes, Inigo the Brave. I like it. I am worthy of the title. Just hearing you say it makes me want to jump into a dragon's mouth.
There once was a hero named Ragnar.
Okay.
Who came riding to Whiterun from old Rorikstead.
The smells, the sounds, the danger. It suits me very much. It feels alive.
But then he went quiet.
After I quit the bandits, I came to Riften looking for a way to make coin. My partner and I found a job or two, but the real bounty was the city itself.
Now I think it's high time that you lie down and bleed. And so
Good idea. What shall we discuss? Fair enough.
full of zeal.
Go ahead, ask away.
Ragnar was boastful no more.
My brother and I never knew our real parents. We were found abandoned in a smelly shack by a soldier on his way to battle. We melted his heart with our fuzzy little faces, and he carried us to the nearest town. He deposited us at an orphanage, and that is where we spent most of our childhood. My brother and I were adopted by a couple of retired assassins. I guess the orphanage did not do a family background check. Mine was perhaps a little more unconventional than most, but I suppose all childhoods are interesting to some degree. My parents provided me with love and encouragement. Apart from the nightly training sessions, we were a normal family. I was bullied by the other Khajiit children because of my unusual color and markings. My mother showed me a handy trick with a rock and a glove. I was never bothered again. Yes, bullies should not be tolerated. They soon learned that being different is not a weakness. My father showed my brother and I how to use a sword. My mother taught us the bow. Happy childhood memories. I grew up in Riverhold, not far from Cyrodiil. My brother and I headed for the Imperial City to find our fortune when we came of age. I found love, for a time at least. My brother found death. Well, now that I think about it, maybe it was not love. It was brief and, as it turned out, one-sided. Anyway, all that happened later. I will come to that soon. There is a little more to hear first. My mother and father are both gone. They died protecting a trading caravan a few years back. I guess I am an orphan again. I I suppose they were a bit of an odd couple, being an Argonian and a Khajiit, but they adored each other, and us. Despite their previous profession, they were good people. That means a great deal. Thank you. My brother and I found much work as sellswords. We never made it to the Imperial City, but we made a lot of coin. A bit of giant killing here, a bit of witch slaying there. We took gold when it was offered, but sometimes we worked for nothing. It is hard to deny those in need whether they have coin or not. We made more than enough from those who could pay anyway. All over Cyrodiil, from the Gold Coast to the Gerald Mountains. It is a wonderful land, but quite tame compared to Skyrim. Those were happy times, traveling or working during the day, camping out under the stars at night. Life was good.
At some point we should hire
I awoke one morning to a lot of noise outside our tent. My brother staggered in, bleeding, and pushed our father's sword into my hand. He said that if I loved him, I would run. He used the last of his strength to rip out the back of the tent and push me down the slope beyond. Some Khajiit-hating locals had blamed us for a spate of robberies in the area and had decided to take the matter into their own hands. 12 of them had snuck up on us in the night. My brother died, but I live because of him. Yes, that morning I lost all that was dear to me. Unfortunately, I also uncovered a side of myself I never knew existed. His name was Fergus. I miss him very much, but part of me is glad he did not witness what became of me after his passing. Maybe you are right. It is a nice thought, but I suppose I will never know. I was recruited by a group of bandits a few years ago. That is when I discovered skooma. It was the beginning of a lot of nastiness. I was with a bandit girl for a while. Turns out she was using me. She wanted protection, not affection. As soon as she found someone more psychopathic, I was dropped like a sack of troll dung. I thought I did. We dulled each other's pain somewhat. She seemed like the only bright thing in a very dark place. Regrettably, she was a vicious, manipulative harpy. I left the bandits and took the only ally I had with me. He was also an addict, but we thought we had it under control. His name was Felix. He was a big fellow, good in his scrap. We became mercenaries together. After a few months, Felix and I had made a little gold, but our addiction to skooma was getting in the way. No one trusts an addict, my friend. Especially not another addict. There is not much to tell. He never spoke about his past, but it was clear he had also been through a great deal before becoming a bandit. That life did not seem to suit him. He had been an educated man at some point, I am sure of it. He was violent, but he had retained some dim vestige of honor. I wish we had met under different circumstances. One day, Felix burst into my chamber. Instinct took over and I reacted. His murder was my second-to-last step on the road of dishonor. Trying to kill you was my last. My journal tells the rest. Read it if you want. I do not enjoy speaking of these things. That is my story. Not a happy one, but maybe the happy stuff is still to come. One-handed weapons suit me very much. They leave a hand free to perform rude gestures. My fur bristles when a thunderstorm is on the way. I can talk without moving my lips.
The blood and our steel.
One day I hope to learn how to fight underwater. I just can't seem to do it.
Down with Ulfric.
I'm picky about what I read, but I do enjoy a good book.
Drink and we'll
By fighting at your side, I believe I now walk a better path.
Skyrim and we fight all our lives.
Fire away.
Sovngarde beckons. Everyone of
All
us
right.
dies.
I'm thinking that it is colder outside than it is in here.
Land is ours, and we'll see it wiped clean.
Yes, I have never been very good though. I enjoy writing songs, but sometimes it is more fun just making up words as I go along.
I really do.
Improvisation keeps the mind sharp and boredom at bay. Maybe, but nothing too serious. I would rather save my proper songs for the Bard's College. For now, anyway. Well, I know it is silly, but my songs are special to me. I would rather perform them in a special place. However, if you just want me to improvise something while we are traveling, maybe I can help you out. We will see. You want a performance review? Okay. Okay, here's what I know about you. You smell like flowers today. You have some gold, but you could do with more. You have never done time in a cell, unlike me. You are not exactly well-traveled. Not yet, anyway. You are essentially homeless right now. Let me think. Like me, you have no great talent for fighting with magic. The state of your mind may be up for debate, but your body is healthy. When you open your mouth, you usually talk yourself into trouble, not out of it. You need to practice your manipulation techniques. You are strong, free, and single. Your skill with one-handed weapons is getting better. I find that shouting random insults mid-battle always helps. You were saved from the executioner's axe by the very force that now threatens this land. You could be our only hope. No pressure. You have great fashion sense. Let's see. Your proficiency with two-handed weapons is amazing. I envy your strength and stamina. You are not into politics. What else? You do not seem to be practiced in the art of stealth yet. You may know how to open a book, but so far you have failed to learn very much from the writing inside. You like to haul around random useless items for some reason. Your archery still needs work. Do not be disheartened. I am an oddity. Not everyone can be deadly with a bow and good looking. Now, how do I conclude? You are destined for greatness, my friend. You are still fairly new to this adventuring thing, but you are getting more powerful every day. You asked for my opinion, and now you have it. I hope you did not mind my honesty.
Is there something I can help you with? That's a question I've asked myself for weeks now. Am I all right? Will she be all right? Was it wrong to come here? I'm sick. I mean, it would be fine if it was just a cough, but, well, my body hurts so much I can barely walk. And those are the good days.
We drink to our youth, to days come and gone. For the age of aggression is just about done.
On bad days, it hurts to be alive. Enough to make me wonder why I still am. Oh, I'm sure it's still nothing compared to the wounds soldiers get. But that doesn't provide much comfort. Not when my daughter is so young.
Killer of kings, on the day of your death we will drink and we'll sing.
I've already tried. I'd heard that Danica Pure Spring is the most powerful healer in all of Skyrim, but she couldn't help me. I know now it's my destiny to die. That's why Archaea guided us here.
Wiped clean of the scourge that has sullied our hopes and our dreams.
Oh, I know. My faith wasn't always as strong as it is now. In fact, I almost gave up on the Divines altogether. Henrietta, my baby girl. Bright, talented, and just enough of her father's courage to be brave without being fearless. She complains a lot too, but I forgive her. Which part? And here I thought you were going to say the complaining part. Not that you'd be wrong, but it'd be sort of mean to say. My husband passed away not too long ago. She reminds me so much of him. If she ever asked me what he was like, I would have told her to just look in the mirror. He was a gallant man, and my best friend. Some would say we knew each other better than we knew ourselves.
On the day of your death we will drink and we'll sing.
Is there something I can help you with?
Children of Skyrim, and we fight all our
Yes, I plan to stay here with my daughter until Archaea bid me leave. I've already arranged for a plot of land, away from the trees, where the stone faces east.
land is ours, and we'll see it wiped clean of the
Thank you.
scourge that has
It's funny, when they told me about the grand cemetery at Falkreath, I was so worried it might be too large. I feared Henrietta wouldn't be able to find my headstone. But when we got here, I was relieved. The graveyard is so cozy, and the priest is a kind man. I am. I was afraid to die before, not knowing what would become of my daughter. I thought she would end up lost and alone, a child few people noticed and nobody wanted. Now my heart is filled with more trivial concerns, and I often forget how lucky I am to have them. I am worried she'll forget me.
This is a local favorite.
She's just a child, and
First songs I
the memories she has now will soon be
Ragnar the Red.
replaced. I know when she's older, she'll remember Indara as her real mother. It's wrong to think so, but it almost makes me jealous. I just want to be a part of her life, even when I'm gone.
I wish I could afford to
Well, these last few days I've tried to tell her all the little things. How to brush her hair, how to tell when a man lies. The perfect recipe for apple cabbage soup. I thought if I showed her all the little things, the big things would speak for themselves. She wouldn't have to wonder how much I loved her. Yet, when I talk to her now, all my words float by like dandelion clocks on the wind.
We drink to our youth, to days come and gone. For the age of aggression is
By the
just
Divines.
about done.
Why didn't I think of that? That's a wonderful idea.
Drive out
Thank you,
the
stranger.
storm folks and restore what we own.
I think Runil has a quill and paper he keeps for his journal. I'm gonna get started right away. And if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a small favor. I know she'll be in good hands with Indara and Matthews, but if you could look in on her from time to time, make sure everything's all right, I'd appreciate it. Truly, the Divines must have sent you to answer my prayers. Thank you again, so much.
This land is ours, and we'll see it wiped clean of the scourge that has sullied our hopes and our
When the Great War began, he was one of the first in our town to enlist in the Imperial Army. He despised the Thalmor, and so did I. When the White Gold Concordat was signed, he defected from the Legion to join the Red Guard forces as they pushed the elves back to Somerset Isle. I supported him in his decision. I told him to go to Ghislaine, where the army needed soldiers most. That's where he met a girl in a small town by the southern peninsula. He said it meant nothing, but it changed everything. He betrayed my trust and the vow he made before Mara. But Mara forgive me, I still loved him. That was the problem. But I also knew I couldn't stay in Hammerfell any longer. There were too many memories. I couldn't look at the desert sands without thinking about the war. And I couldn't think about the war without thinking about that girl. So we moved back to Cyrodiil, to Bruma, a place without sands or oceans. Well, things finally began to slow down. It took some time to patch our relationship back together, but we made it work for 20 years. And in the meantime, I had Henrietta. An alchemist told him about a magical plant that grows only in the damp forests of Valenwood. As a base agent, it could make a potion strong enough to cure any disease. Whether he found it or not, he promised to come back in a month's time for Henrietta's birthday. He never did. It was a foolish thing. A romantic thing, but the two are often one and the same. What did he think would happen to Henrietta if he never came back? If not for the guidance of the divines, I shudder to think of the consequences. All right then.